Pepsitan alep.
Ooh.
I mean, talk about a dramatic way to kick off a chapter, right? This outburst from Plutus, the monstrous figure guarding the fourth circle of hell, it throws us right into the action in Canto 7 of Dante's Inferno.
It definitely sets a dramatic tone.
And if you recall, we left off in Canto 6 at the edge of this abyss, facing this very figure, Plutus, after going through that icy rain and the filth of the third circle.
Oh, the gluttons.
The glutton. We find ourselves looking into a new abyss, with Plutus standing guard.
A powerful transition, moving from the physical torments of the third circle to the more psychological punishments of the fourth, where we encounter those consumed by an insatiable hunger for wealth.
So how does Virgil handle this whole encounter with Plutus? Because he doesn't seem, intimidated at all by this monstrous deity.
Yeah, you're right, he doesn't. Virgil's response is swift and decisive. It's really showcasing the power of reason and divine will, even in this realm of chaos. He quickly silences Plutus, reminding us that even in hell, there's a hierarchy, a system of order that even the most fearsome demons must obey.
That's a fascinating point. It suggests that hell isn't just some sort of random suffering free-for-all, but a realm that's governed by its own set of rules and structure.
Precisely. And as we delve deeper into the fourth circle, we see these rules and structures reflected in the punishments themselves. Dante paints a vivid picture of two massive groups of souls, eternally locked in a futile struggle, pushing heavy weights against each other.
It's such a powerful image. It really captures that essence of greed, doesn't it? This constant striving for more, this endless back and forth between hoarding and squandering, with no real satisfaction ever achieved.
And it's a perfect example of contrapasso, the concept that in hell, the punishment reflects the sin. And the cries these souls exchange, "Why keepest?" and "Why squanderest thou?" only emphasize their continued fixation on earthly possessions, even in the afterlife.
Right, even in the afterlife. It's as if they've learned nothing from their earthly life. They're still trapped in that same cycle of greed and desire. And what's even more striking is Dante's observation that many of these sinners are tonsured, meaning they were members of the clergy in life.
Oh, wow.
I mean, talk about a subtle but powerful jab at hypocrisy. Those who preach against greed while succumbing to it themselves.
It serves as a reminder that corruption can exist anywhere, even within institutions meant to guide us towards spiritual enlightenment. And it challenges us to examine our own relationship with wealth and power, to consider whether we might be falling into similar traps of hypocrisy in our own lives.
We've got these tormented souls locked in their eternal struggle. And Dante throws in this curveball by pivoting to a discussion about fortune. It almost feels like a philosophical detour in the midst of all this infernal chaos.
It does, doesn't it? But it's a crucial digression because it raises some fundamental questions about the nature of free will and destiny. Virgil explains fortune as a divinely appointed minister, essentially God's agent in distributing wealth and worldly success.
So are we to understand that our financial status, our successes and failures are all predetermined by this cosmic force? Does that mean that we have no agency, no control over our own destinies?
That's a question that Dante seems to be grappling with himself. Virgil's explanation of fortune challenges us to consider the complex interplay between divine will and human choice. Perhaps it's not about absolutes, but about finding a balance. Recognizing that while we may not have complete control over external circumstances, we still have the power to choose how we respond to them.
That's an intriguing perspective. It suggests that even in the face of forces beyond our control, we still have a responsibility to make ethical choices, to strive for virtue, even when faced with adversity.
Exactly. And it's this tension between fate and free will that makes Dante's exploration of hell so compelling. He's not just describing a place of punishment, he's inviting us to examine the very nature of good and evil, to confront the complexities of human choice and its consequences.
And speaking of consequences, our journey through the fourth circle isn't over yet, is it? Where does Dante take us next?
Hold on tight, because we're about to descend even further into the abyss, moving from the realm of greed to a place where untamed emotions reign supreme. We're heading to the fifth circle, the domain of the wrathful and the sullen, where the atmosphere becomes palpably darker and heavier. Imagine a boiling well, a murky river, the Styx, and eventually a vast, stagnant lake all shrouded in this oppressive gloom.
Okay, I'm already feeling a bit uneasy just picturing it. It seems like Dante is really turning up the heat, both literally and figuratively, as we journey deeper into hell. What awaits us in this realm of rage and despair?
Prepare yourself. because the fifth circle is where Dante unleashes his talent for depicting the visceral horrors of hell. As you descend with him into this realm, you're immediately confronted with a scene of utter chaos and violence. Imagine souls mired in this thick, bubbling swamp, lashing out at each other in a frenzy of rage. They bite, claw, and strike, consumed by a fury that seems to have no end.
It sounds terrifying, like Dante is saying that anger itself is a kind of prison, trapping these souls in this endless cycle of aggression and suffering.
Exactly. And what's even more unsettling is the contrast with the souls trapped beneath the surface of the Styx, the sullen. They're almost an inversion of the wrathful, consumed by their own inner darkness rather than outward aggression. And their sighs and groans bubble up from the murky depths, a haunting reminder of the suffocating weight of despair.
It's interesting that Dante chooses to portray both the wrathful and the sullen as being trapped, albeit in different ways. So the wrathful are physically stuck in the mire, unable to escape their rage, while the sullen are submerged, almost suffocated by their own negativity. It's like he's showing us how both extremes of emotion, whether explosive or internalized, can lead to a kind of spiritual imprisonment.
That's a very insightful observation, and it reinforces the idea that hell isn't just about physical torment, it's about the state of the soul, the consequences of allowing our passions to rule us. The wrathful are consumed by their anger, unable to let go, while the sullen are trapped in their own bitterness and resentment.
As we're talking about this, I can't help but think about how these concepts of wrath and sullenness might manifest in our own lives. So we might not be physically attacking each other, but haven't we all experienced those corrosive effects of anger, the way it can poison relationships and cloud our judgment?
Absolutely.
And who hasn't felt the weight of negativity drag them down, making it hard to see the good in the world?
You raise an important point. Dante's Inferno, while set in this fantastical realm of the afterlife, is ultimately a reflection of the human condition.
Right.
The sins he depicts, the punishments he describes, they're all rooted in very real human emotions and behaviors. And that's what makes his work so enduringly relevant, so thought-provoking. It forces us to confront the darkness within ourselves, to examine our own capacity for both good and evil.
And it's not just about individual failings, is it? We also see hints of social commentary in Dante's portrayal of hell. Remember those tonsured clergy among the greedy? It seems like Dante is also critiquing a broader societal obsession with wealth and power, the way it can corrupt even those in positions of authority.
That's a very astute observation. Dante was a keen observer of his own time, and his Inferno is as much a reflection of the social and political landscape of 14th century Italy as it is a theological treatise on sin and punishment.
It makes you wonder, if Dante were writing today, what aspects of modern society he would target in his depiction of hell. What would he say about our consumerist culture, our obsession with social media, our political divisions?
Those are fascinating questions to consider. And I think it speaks to the enduring power of Dante's work that it continues to spark such discussions centuries later. He gives us a framework for understanding the human condition, for grappling with the timeless questions of good and evil, justice and mercy.
Okay, so we've got this incredibly vivid and disturbing portrayal of the fifth circle, with its raging souls and suffocating despair. But amidst all the chaos and darkness, there's also a sense of divine order. The punishments are meticulously designed to fit the crimes, and even the demons themselves seem to be bound by a hierarchy, this set of rules governing this infernal realm.
You're absolutely right, and this is a crucial point to keep in mind as we journey through the Inferno. Even in the depths of hell, there's a sense of justice, this cosmic balance that reflects the divine order of the universe.
Yeah, it makes you think about our own concepts of justice, doesn't it? Do we believe in a system of cosmic retribution, where our actions in this life have consequences in the next? Or do we see justice as something more earthly, something to be achieved within the framework of human laws and institutions?
That's a question that has occupied philosophers and theologians for centuries, and one that Dante grapples with throughout the Inferno. He doesn't offer any easy answers, but his work invites us to contemplate the complex relationship between human actions, divine will, and the nature of ultimate justice.
It's a lot to process. We've got this incredible journey through hell with all its horrors and moral complexities, and then we have these philosophical questions about free will, destiny, and the nature of justice, all layered on top of it.
That's what makes Dante's work so rich and rewarding.
Yeah.
It's not just a story, it's an invitation to think deeply about the human condition, to explore the darkest recesses of the soul, and to grapple with the fundamental questions of existence.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to move on to the final part of our deep dive into Canto 7. We've covered a lot of ground already, from the monstrous Plutus guarding the fourth circle to the harrowing punishments of the wrathful and the sullen. But there's still more to uncover, more insights to glean from Dante's masterful storytelling. As we wrap up Canto 7, I'm just kind of in awe of Dante's ability to transport us to this otherworldly realm. It's like we've journeyed right alongside him through those fiery depths of hell, witnessing firsthand the consequences of greed and rage and despair.
Yeah, it really is a testament to the power of his imagination. He creates a world that is both terrifying and strangely beautiful, filled with vivid imagery and profound moral lessons.
And it's not just the descriptions that are so captivating, how he uses language to just evoke such visceral reaction. You can practically feel the heat of the flames, smell the stench of that mire, hear the anguished cries of the soul.
It's immersive, unlike anything else in literature. He doesn't just tell us about hell. He makes you feel like you are right there with him.
Speaking of horrors, we haven't even talked about the demons yet. They're these fully realized characters, each with their own unique personality and role to play in this infernal hierarchy.
They're a fascinating aspect of Dante's Inferno, aren't they? They're not just mindless tormentors, they're cunning, intelligent beings tasked with enforcing the laws of hell and ensuring that each sinner receives their just punishment.
And they're not all created equal either.
Yeah, there's a definite hierarchy.
Right. A chain of command that reflects the order and structure of this infernal realm.
Precisely. And this hierarchy is crucial to understanding Dante's vision of hell. It's not just a chaotic free-for-all, it's a realm governed by divine justice, a place where even the demons are bound by a set of rules and regulations.
Even in hell, there's a system of law and order. What does that say about divine judgment?
That's a really profound question, and one that Dante invites us to ponder throughout the Inferno. His work isn't simply a condemnation of sinners. It's an exploration of the complex relationship between human actions, divine will, and the possibility of redemption.
As we've been discussing these themes of sin, punishment, and divine justice, I've been struck by how relevant they still are today. So we may not believe in a literal hell, but haven't we all kind of experienced the consequences of our own bad choices?
For sure.
Haven't we all felt the sting of guilt or the weight of regret?
You're absolutely right. Dante's Inferno isn't just a medieval morality tale. It's a reminder that our actions have consequences, both in this life and beyond.
And that brings us to the end of Canto 7. With Dante and Virgil reaching the base of a tower, ready to enter the next circle of hell, I am like on the edge of my seat. I'm eager to see what challenges and horrors await.
I'm right there with you. Dante's a master of suspense, leaving us hanging at the end of each canto, eager to discover what lies ahead. But before we venture further into the Inferno, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what we've explored today.
Yeah, let's take a step back. We've witnessed the punishments of the greedy, the wrathful, and the sullen. We encountered the monstrous Plutus, delved into that complex concept of fortune, and we've grappled with some really profound questions about free will and destiny and the nature of divine justice.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
And I hope that through our deep dive into Canto 7, you've gained a deeper appreciation for the power and complexity of Dante's masterpiece. It's a work that continues to challenge and inspire us centuries after it was written, offering a timeless reflection of the human condition and the enduring quest for meaning and redemption.
We hope you enjoyed this exploration with us, and we invite you to join us next time for another fascinating adventure into the world of literature. Until then, keep those pages turning.